Well, hello tube. I should be doing this video out on the porch, but the loud drunk neighbors decided that they need to be blasting music. This is a Tuesday, by the way. I'm going to warn you, there is no way of doing this video without profuse cussing. So if you have delicate ears, this is not going to be the video for you. Today, I'm going to do my best Uncle Joey voice. Today, cocksuckers, we got Tremendous by Joey Coco Diaz. I can't do it very well, but Uncle Joey Coco Diaz, The Life of a Comedy Savage with Erica Florentine. I'll read the author blurbs. Jojo Coco Diaz is a Cuban-American actor, comedian, podcast host, husband, and father. He was born in Cuba and immigrated to the United States at the age of 3. Orphaned in his teenage years, Diaz ventured into the world of crime and landed himself in jail for kidnapping before turning his life around and finding his true calling with comedy. And then Erica Florentine is a writer whose work has appeared in outlets including Bustle, TheRiches.com, HealthU.com, Thought Catalog, WebMD, Fitness and Delaware Today Magazine, and more. She is the co-author of Foundation of a Successful Life. I love Joey so much. I found out about Joey Diaz. How long ago was it where Rogan was doing his podcast with Red Band from his basement with the snowflakes in the background? Was that like 15 years ago? He big good friends with Joe Rogan. He was on the very early episode, a lot of very early episodes. He still might be. I think he kind of retired and is just living life in New Jersey. I don't think he's doing a whole lot that doesn't just come out to New Jersey. But in real tight with Rogan, and I found him and Bert Chrysler and Ari Shafir, Eddie Bravo, Duncan Trussell. Duncan Trussell is one of my favoriteest persons on this planet, by the way. Midnight Gospel. Got Clarence up there. Um, Found all of them through those really early Joe Rogan podcast episodes. And from the get-go, I loved Joey Diaz. He's probably the dirtiest comic that I know of anyway. And, Doug Stanhope's up there. As far as ones I like and listen to anyway. But which Doug Stanhope kind of helped him get his start in the comedy world. Him and Mencia. What was his nicknames? Thefcia or whatever. Anyway, it doesn't matter. If you are a fan of Joey Coco Diaz and you've been listening to him over the years, there's not going to be really anything new in this book. It's pretty much his life story, which he's been very vocal about his entire life, like his since the early days of Rogan, I should say. But like I said, I love Unc, and having his life in one place, and his stories and things. I didn't really find this book very funny, just because I've heard all the stories 1,000 times. So, there's a couple times I did chuckle. I ain't gonna lie, but it's really inspirational. Here's this man who lost both parents by the time he was like, I don't know, 15, 16. I should know because I just got done with this book today. And, in with the wrong crowd. He went to prison for kidnapping. Um, and in fact, many years down the line, he definitely had remorse over the kidnapping, and for the longest time, he I don't know if he was in communication. He was trying in communication with the guy that he kidnapped, and at one point, the dude did show up to one of his shows, and I think they hung out and stuff like that. So that's kind of funny that you know Uncle Jojo Coco Diaz, Uncle Joey Coco Diaz could kidnap you, and you could still be friends with him or forgive him many years later because he's just a big lovable guy. He doesn't make any excuses for his life and his decisions, and um, he had a family early on, and that he lost contact with his child and the pain involved in that, and then having a second chance with his new wife, having a family with them. I think he did get back together with his first daughter. I think he touched on it briefly in this, and and just this is a man that had nothing multiple times throughout his life, made all the bad decisions, and yet he was able to get his life back on the right path, made something of himself. He's beloved, and I've known a few people like Joey, personally, where they had a heart of gold. They were just young and dumb and did stupid things, and that their past forever haunted them, no matter how much they um, shown that they changed. And I do think people can change, and I do believe that people, they grow up. Most people grow up eventually, um, and take full advantage of the second chance. I mean, it took Joey quite a while to fully accept his second chance because he was still doing bad things when he got out of prison. But he's such a lovable guy that he just kind of got away with it. But yeah, I don't know what to say other than um, this this book really okay. So even if you're not into dirty comedy, if you're not into Joey Diaz style comedy, Joe Rogan, Doug Stanhope, that sort of a thing. Even to extent Burt Kreischer and Tom Segura and all of that. Ari Shafir. I still think there's value in this book just because of his like redemption story. It's not very graphic. There's a couple parts that is kind of crude, but I think the overall message is there, and it's just awesome. I think a lot of people can learn something from this, or maybe be less judgmental about people's past. And it's just it really is an inspirational book. It really is. And I also highly suggest that I actually listened to it on audiobook. So no, I did not read this. I listened to it. And I found out through Doug Stanhope's Digging Up Mother, when a comedian has a book and they read it, you do the audio. But I'm a fan of Uncle Joey Coco Diaz, so I felt like I should support him by getting the hardcover, and I used one of my Audible credits for the audiobook. He doesn't stray off the book, as far as I can tell, too much. Like Doug Stanhope's Digging Up Mother was there was so much added material in it that I was literally crying of laughter when I was listening to it. This one, he pretty much reads the book, but it's Joey, so he's gonna have that take no prisoners, just straightforward attitude, and he got the the Joey voice, so definitely get the audiobook. If you're like, do I get the audiobook or do I get the hardcover? Get the audiobook if you can get both, just because it's Joey. It's Joey. And of course, he's got his podcast. If I think about it, I'll put a link to his podcast down below. Uncle Uncle Joey's Joint, I think is what he calls it these days. There's been a few of them. There's the Church of What's Happening Now, and then there was Beauty and the Beast for a while. Um, but I honestly I don't really listen to a whole lot of podcasts anymore. The only one I really listen to is Bad Friends, and every once in a while, Two Bears One Cave, and then Duncan Trussell's Family Hour. But I don't. Bad Friends is like the only podcast I sit down and listen every week anymore. So I kind of lost track of Uncle Joey's. I think it's Uncle Joey's Joint. I think that's what it's called. But awesome book, awesome dude, inspirational. This dude really has changed his life around. You might know him. He was the fat guy in uh, basketball. He was the fat guy in the longest yard with the um, the jersey as a belly shirt. He was in the Sopranos movie. He's been on various TV shows. He's very much a bit actor. But he's awesome. He's awesome. Tremendous by Uncle Joey Coco Diaz. Have you read it? Go read it. Go listen to it. It's awesome. It's amazing. I'll have a link down below to bookshop.org where I didn't look, but I assume it's on there. I had to get it quickly, so I didn't order through bookshop.org. Don't tell them that. And I will warn you, mine came schmooched up. I did not do that. So it does. This book does mark up quite easily. It looks like somebody from Amazon sneezed all over my book, and I touched it. That's it for this one, peeps. Cheers.